Welcome to the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery.
Salutations and welcome to one and all to the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery. I am your host, Murky Monday, and allow me to guide you today through the gallery to this exhibit of Ace Frehley. Yes, today we are going to start the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery off with my favorite alien, the legendary Ace Frehley from the legendary band Kiss. He recently passed away, and as he was one of my favorite guitar players of all time, I decided that he would be a perfect person to start this project here, the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery, to get it started. And to explain what the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery is, it is basically me doing portraits and giving them a little bit of memento mori at the end of it, basically. If you would imagine, right, that the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery has a few exhibit rooms, right? The first exhibit room is the Room of Legends and the famous, infamous celebrity icons, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to paint those individuals who have crossed over to the other side and that I consider to be legendary. The other room in the gallery would be the Great Hall of everyday people, just regular people like you and me, except that I will only be painting living actual people and not those that have passed on. I will be painting a lot of my friends and some pretty interesting acquaintances along the way, so stay tuned and keep looking and see who next could possibly even be you that is a victim of the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery. But what can I say about Ace Frehley? Well, I can say this. I can say that the first image I ever saw of Kiss was the image from the Rock and Roll Over album cover, which had a very graphic image of the four of them in the circle of four corners. And Ace Frehley had the most unique hairstyle in that it was just circular, and it drew my attention. And I thought he was a spaceman because his hair looked like a space helmet. But then as a young black kid, I thought it also looked quite like an afro. So at first I thought Ace was black. And funny thing, if you've ever seen Kiss meets Phantom of the Park, you'll notice that Ace Frehley's stunt double is in fact a black man. I find that hilarious. But Ace was one of my favorites in Kiss. Of course, everybody's attracted to Gene Simmons. You know, if you're a boy, you're attracted to Gene Simmons because, you know, it's the blood, the fire, the tongue, all that craziness, the demon, right? And if you're a chick, you know, you're going to be attracted to, you know, Paul, or you're going to be attracted to Peter because, you know, they're really there for the women, right? But Ace was there for one reason, and that was to take you out of this world with absolutely blistering rock and roll guitar licks. And that's what he provided. He was really the music behind the band. You didn't listen to Kiss because it was simply just the thunderous bass. You listened because of Ace Frehley's smoking guitar riffs, literally comet throwing guitar riffs. I'm happy to say that I got to see the original lineup in my life 3 times. I got to see him 2 times at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio and 1 time at the Frank Erwin Center in Austin. all 3 times I saw the original lineup. It was an absolute stunning concert. Like they say, you wanted the best, you got the best. And when you had the original lineup, whether they were all on the same page or not, you know, privately, they were the best when it came to Kiss being on stage. Interesting story, you know, I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why I also decided to do him for this inaugural episode was that it being November 2025, it's not too far away from my birthday, and it reminds me of my 11th birthday. On my 11th birthday, I woke up and my mother had purchased a parakeet for me for my birthday, and it was a little blue and green parakeet that I named Prissy. It was a female parakeet. And I was kind of upset because, you know, what 11-year-old wants a parakeet? You know, I remember seeing the parakeets at the pet store in the mall and being interested because they're birds, you know, birds are interesting, you know, but not really to the point where I wanted one. But for whatever reason, my mother thought that, you know, I'm going to get him on his 11th birthday, I'm going to get him a little parakeet. And so I went to school, and I was just like, I didn't want to talk to nobody about my birthday. I didn't want to let nobody know. I didn't want to tell nobody I got no silly little parakeet. And that was it. And I was kind of disappointed. And then that night for my birthday, my mom cooked my favorite dinner. And then she got me some German chocolate cake. She made me German chocolate cake. And then she handed me a present that was wrapped up. Now, I was old enough to know that this was a record, but I couldn't imagine what record my mother would be buying me. And so I ripped it open, and it was Kiss Alive 2. And my jaw just dropped. Because, you know, I couldn't imagine that my mother would buy me this album. But it was, like, amazing. And the unfortunate thing is that we didn't have a record player. So I would have to wait to go and visit friends and family that had record players to bring this record over there. But the thing, too, was that now after she gave me the record, she gave me this other little box. And I couldn't think of what it would be, but then when I opened it up, it was an Ace Frehley Kiss doll by Mego. Oh my God, I was so thrilled to have this toy. It was like the hottest thing on the market, and for my mom to actually buy me a Kiss album and a Kiss doll, it was like incredible. And for it to be Ace Frehley, it was just like the best, because, you know, sure, everybody loves Gene, but there was just something about Ace that, you know, it made me feel like, you know, that was my in to Kiss. That I loved his guitar, bluesy rock riffs, just blistering guitar. I just loved it, you know. And so he was one of my favorites, and hear him recently passing away is, you know, tragic news to hear, you know, that yet another one of the great rock legends has gone over to the other side. So I just couldn't think of anybody better to start this inaugural program here than to exhibit my favorite alien, Ace Frehley. Yeah. And so basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint legends, and I'm going to paint people, and I'm going to paint them black and white and sort of lean towards the classic horror film type, you know, the film noir, black and white, like the universal monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman, you know, and the Phantom of the Opera and Creature from the Black Lagoon, you know what I mean? The classic, you know, the Mummy type things, where it's black and white, it's got that film noir, classic horror feel. Well, that's kind of what I'm going for, and I'm going to paint the legends who I feel will fit that motif. And then at the end of the painting, I give them what I call a little bit of a memento mori taste of the truth between life and death. There's this fleeting moment that we all live in, and that no matter how beautiful we are, we will all die. You know, we're here but for a fleeting moment, you know, like my friends say, I'm not here for a long time, I'm here for a good time, you know what I mean? And so if there was anybody that I felt like lived to that mantra, it would be Ace Frehley, because every time I ever saw anything about Ace Frehley, even in his bad times, this man was always smiling, always cracking a joke, always having a good time. And yeah, you know, he might have had a little bit of excess, but this man was excess. He was bigger than life. He was out of this world. So to me, to be able to do that to the best of his ability and still play to his heart, man, he was the best. And so I dedicate this first episode in this new project that I'm starting, the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery, to this particular legendary, one of my favorites, Ace Frehley of Kiss. Now I ask you that if you stick tuned to me, you'll see some other great legendary people I've got lined up coming. And I've got some of my friends that I'm going to be dropping in here and exhibiting in the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery. And you know, you too can be a part of the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery. Leave a comment, send me your picture, give me your information. I give you my number here, give me a call. Set something up and I can get you in the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery too, because you certainly are drop dead gorgeous. Everybody is. Everybody has a beautiful face, and that's kind of what it is that I'm trying to get at for myself. The challenge of trying to make a good portrait, to make art, and to bring the image of that person, the essence of that person to light. I'm not necessarily trying to be 100% accurate. I'm not trying to be photorealistic. For that, there's a photo. There's no fun in that, you know. I'm trying to express my art, my talent, and my ability the best I can to bring forth this image, and then to give it a true sense of soul, of here and now, and of also the hereafter. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications, and you'll find out when I'll be dropping new videos. Yeah. So what do you think? How am I doing? Does it look like him? Do I have a pretty good likeness? I think so. I think if I had to give myself a grade on this particular portrait, I'm gonna give myself an A. Maybe not an A plus. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, be that arrogant or that egotistical. But I say definitely an A, a strong A. A for Ace to start this off. And, you know, if you disagree or you don't agree, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. And there he is. That's the finished project. Ace, my favorite alien. The trickiest part was making that paint look like metal. I didn't cheat and use metallic paint. I painted it black and white and just use my skill and talent. Badass! Yeah. There's R's of Fijili and the Memento Mori. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for your visit to the Drop Dead Gorgeous Gallery. We hope you enjoyed your time while you were here. We encourage you to come back at your earliest convenience. If you would like to be a victim, an exhibit in the gallery, contact us. Thank you.